Hi there, this is Ranjit from tech2bus.com, and in this video we're going to do the full review of this budget Android phone from Karbonn, and it's known as the A5. And this is a dual SIM Android phone, but both the SIMs should be GSM. 3G is also available on this phone, but only with the first SIM. So this is the actual phone. Let me just zoom in a little bit to give you a better look. And let me give you a physical overview. The screen size on this phone is a 3.5 inch screen, and the resolution is 320 by 480 pixels. And the feel of the phone is actually pretty good. The back panel is made up of plastic, but it's soft plastic and it is good to hold. And if you notice, we get a 2 megapixel camera on the back. Sadly, there is no flash, but the camera, I would say, is just average. And below it's written Karbonn, and we have an opening over here. That's for the speakerphone, and the speaker on this is actually pretty good. Now let me open up the back cover, and as you can see, we have two SIM slots. The first one can accept GSM SIMs, and it is also 3G enabled. Karbonn provided a 1420 milliampere battery with this phone, and in my testing I would say that the battery life is very good for an Android phone, though I did all my testing with just one SIM card. And also we do get a micro SD card slot here, and you can add up to 32 GB of storage with the same. Moving towards the front, we have this 3.5 inch screen, and we also have these 4 touch type capacitive buttons. They light up whenever the phone is on, and here, first one is for the home, second one is for the menu, third is for the back, and the last one is for search. Also, if you notice, there's ample space below these capacitive buttons, hence this phone looks a lot taller in size, and it feels a lot bigger than the standard 3.5 inch Android phones, and in dimensions it looks as close to a 4 inch Android phone. On the top we have the earphone and the proximity sensor, and I have to say this voice quality on this phone is pretty good. The voice calls were pretty clear, but this phone does not have a LED notification light or an ambient light sensor, so you need to manually adjust the brightness on this phone. And let me show you to the top. On the top we get a 3.5mm headphone jack and the power on off button, and it's pretty tactile. And on this end we have actually nothing. And on the bottom we have the micro USB slot that will be used for charging and syncing, and actually the microphone pinhole is over here. And on this side we have actually again nothing but just the volume rocker. And overall the phone looks pretty nice for the budget, and in India this phone sells for just below 6,000 rupees. As the mobile pricing fluctuates a lot in India, for the current price I have given the Flipkart link in the show notes below. Now let me switch on the phone, and this phone ships with the Android version 2.3. That's gingerbread. Let me show you the same. Let's go to settings, and let's go to about the phone, and here it says the Android model is A5, and the Android version ships is 2.3.6. Again, I don't think so the phone will get the ice cream sandwich update, but again it's a budget Android phone. And the good thing about this phone is the RAM provided. Though it's a budget oriented phone, the RAM provided is 512 MB, and out of that, when I kill all the apps, let me just open the task manager, advanced task manager, and I'm going to kill all the apps now. And if I go to this app called Android System Info, which I downloaded from the market, you can see that the free RAM available is 287 MB. So that means you get about 290 MB of free RAM available on this phone. And due to that, the phone is extremely fluid to use. And in my testing, I found it to be really good. And there were no noticeable lag when operating the phone. Though the phone has just a 800 megahertz processor, it's well optimized, and I found no issues using the phone. And Karbonn did not modify the UI a lot. They did modify this tray, which I like, because here you have these icons through which you can actually toggle these switches for data, Bluetooth and GPS. So that's nice. But apart from that, not much customization has been done. We have these 4 icons here. One is for the phone calls, second is for the contacts, third is for the messages, and the last one is for this app tray. Again, one more thing that I liked about the phone is, and I was a little bit worried because this is a budget Android phone, the touch sensitivity. And the touch sensitivity on this phone, I would say, is very good. And to demonstrate the same, let me launch this game now. That is Fruit Ninja. And I'm going to lower the volume. And as you can see, the touch sensitivity is very good on this phone. So I'm just going to get out of this game now. And when you hit the home icon for about 2 seconds, you get to the recent apps. Now I have connected it to my Wi-Fi network, and let's open up the browser and let us go to tech2buzz.com. There we have it, and let us load that site. I was also able to install the Flash using the Android Market, and as you can see, the web pages do load pretty quickly, but I have one issue with the phone is that due to the budget, the screen quality, I would say, is actually very poor. If you just tilt the phone, you see the images fade pretty quickly. So that's one little bit con. The screen quality, I would say, is just average. So let us open just one of the stories. And now I'll switch from this portrait view to landscape view. And as you can see, it does that animation when you switch. And this is a Flash video. And let's see if we can play back. Actually, this is the unboxing video of this phone.
Hi there, this is Ranjit from tech2buzz.com.
And as you can see, I'm just going to lower the volume a little bit.
Karbonn A5.
It can play back the video, Flash video, without any issues. So that was surprising. So Flash videos play pretty well on this phone. So let me get out of this one. And as you can see, it does that animation. Let's go to one more site called Engadget. And I'm going to load this site now. And it has loaded the mobile version. And as you can see, the scrolling etc. is pretty fluid for a budget phone. And let's go to the desktop version now. And it has also loaded the desktop version. Now let it load that, and now let's try the pinch gesture. With heavy pages like this, the pinch gesture is not silky smooth, but again, I would say it is pretty acceptable, as you can see. And also we get this plus and minus button over here, and using that, it does the text reflow. But I find these plus or minus button to be a tad bigger. It's too big in my opinion. So in terms of web browsing also, I have no issues with this phone. You can do web browsing easily on the same, considering the price of this phone, which is really affordable. So I would say even in terms of web browsing, it's pretty good. And the added bonus is that it can play Flash videos also embedded on the web pages. So that's for the web browsing. And let me show you the keyboard also. The keyboard, I would say, is also pretty good. And we have ice cream sandwich keyboard and the standard Android keyboard. Let me switch to the ice cream sandwich keyboard. And I found the keyboard to be really easy to use. No issues with the same. And also, if you use it in this way, that is the landscape way, it is pretty easy to type. So no issues regarding the keyboard. Also moving to the battery life, the battery capacity of the battery in this phone is 1420 milliamperes, and by Android standards the battery life is pretty good. It should easily last you a full one working day without any issues. Let me show you one more thing. Let's go to settings again. One little con that I have is the internal storage that is available on the phone. I've added some apps. The default internal storage available is just around 150 MB. So you would need to move the apps from the internal memory to the SD card. You can add a micro SD card to the same. I've added a 2 GB micro SD card, and I would suggest that if you're planning to buy this phone, download this application called Apps to SD, using which you can move the apps from the internal memory to the SD card. For example, see, on the SD card I was able to move all these applications, so that way you can free up the memory. But again, do remember that some of the apps will not move. So again, I would say it has 150 MB of internal storage. That's a bit low and the only con about this phone. But considering the price, and by using apps like Apps to SD, you can limit the ill effects of limited internal memory. Now let me also talk about the media related capabilities of this phone, and let me open the gallery app. And the good thing about the phone is that I tried to play a couple of videos in 480p resolution, and I was able to play the same without any issues. But with 720p videos, I had a problem. I could play just about, let's say, 20% of the videos, and that too also they had frame related issues. So I would say that for video playback you should restrict it to 480p. And I've also taken some photographs with the camera on this phone, which is a 2 megapixel, and I would say the camera quality is just average, nothing spectacular. Outdoors, this picture was taken outdoors, it's okay, I would say, but again, it's not very sharp in my opinion. The pictures are a little bit soft to my liking. And indoors, because it does not have any flash, the photos do get a little bit soft and fuzzy. So camera is not a strength. I would say the camera is just okay. So that's the media playback. The good thing is it can play 480p videos without any issues. Also, I found that you can easily do casual gaming on this phone. I ran a couple of games, for example the Fruit Ninja, which I showed you, and also I ran this Temple Run, and I also ran and also Angry Birds. I could play easily. And the one thing I like about this phone is the touch sensitivity. It's pretty good, and let me demonstrate the same. The touch is really responsive on this phone, and as you can see, it can run this game without any issues. So that's it for this game, and let me run this benchmarking software called NinaMark, and this benchmark tests the GPU performance of the phone, which is important for gaming. Again, I would say it's not the strongest. The NinaMark score that we got was just pretty average, I would say just below average, and I was getting a score of about 14.1 or 14.2. Yes, we get a score of 14.2. Let me publish it. And according to DMARC 2, it says the renderer on this is Adreno 200 GPU. Again, a score of 14.2 is not bad, but again, I would say it's not anything spectacular. So you should be able to play casual gaming without any issues on this phone, but I would say not heavy 3D games. Also, let me run the quadrant benchmark to give you an idea about the quadrant score on this phone. And I'm going to run the full benchmark, and I'm just going to skip all this because it's going to take a long time, and just show you the scores. And the quadrant benchmark is done, so let's look at the scores now. And it says our device got a score of 1290. Let me give you a breakup also. The total is 1290. Out of that, the CPU got a score of 1383, memory is 1408, IO is 1586, 2D graphics is 817, and 3D is 1257. Again, decent score considering that it's a 800 megahertz phone. And let us also install the speed test. Somebody in the comments asked me to run a speed test on this phone on Wi-Fi. I'm connected via Wi-Fi. So we'll just run it. And let me run the speed test. Do note that I am on a 10 Mbps internet connection. And I'm going to change the server and select the Mumbai server because I generally use that one for testing. So that's the one we'll select again. And let's do the speed test. And again, as you can see, you can easily max out my internet connection, which is around 10 Mbps. Again, in my testing also, I found the Wi-Fi performance of this phone to be pretty good. I was able to get good Wi-Fi signal, so no issues with that. So that's the speed test. So what do I feel about this phone? First, let me talk about the negative aspects of this phone. One thing I do not like is the average screen quality used on the phone, and the camera also is very average. And also the low amount of internal storage, that's just 150 MB. But now moving to the positive side, it has ample RAM for a budget Android phone, and also the phone was extremely smooth to operate. Also, I like the touch sensitivity. It is very good, and the speaker quality is also decent, and the battery life on that I got on this phone is also very good. So considering all these aspects, I would say that this is a very good Android phone for somebody who's on a very tight budget but would like to opt for an Android phone. This phone does everything fine. So for a budget Android phone, this is a great phone. I hope you found this video review helpful. That's it for now. This is Ranjit from tech2bus.com, and I hope to see you in my next video.